All right, this next question is from Blackfig 8 Mindset in France. Were there some moments in your journey where you felt struck by different storms in your life? What were you feeling at that time, and what kept you going?
Oh my God. There was a lot of those times. A lot of them. In fact, I still have them. They just don't last as long, and they don't come as often. Man, I used to almost live there. It was a terrible place I lived. And God, how did I get through it? Well, they kept coming. Here, listen. If that's the way your life is, they're not going to go away overnight. These negative storms, when I first started, keep in mind, I started in 1961 reading this book. I had never wanted anything. I mean, I was a negative loser. And as I started to read this, things started to change. But the storms came fairly often, and they were big ones. As time passed over the years, the storms didn't come as often, and they didn't stay as long. And the winds started to come. Now, they didn't come too often, and they were small. But the winds kept coming, and they started to come more often, and they started to get bigger. Today, I have some enormous winds, and they come frequently. It's just a fact of life. It's what's happening to me. It's what happens to you. If you talk to any of the leaders in your company, they will. When you ask that question, they'll probably laugh and they'll say, "Oh, hell yeah!" And that's part of life. That's part of the rhythm process of life. That's one of the laws. Law of rhythm. Tide goes out, tide comes in. Winter never follows winter, you know. And a bad time, if there's a bad time, there's a good time coming. And that's where you got to look at it. I just kept studying. How did I get through it? Well, I'd have to go back and relive each one, which I wouldn't want to do. But I get through it, I think, through studying. See, this was the first book I ever read. If you could look all around here, I've got probably 2,000 or 3,000 books in my library here. And this is in the studio. If I'm in the house, in my den, I've got another couple of thousand books in there. I started to devour books. I have all kinds of recordings. I got a record player here with long playing records and records on Earl Nightingale on personal growth. I still listen to the records on the record player every now and then. I just saturated myself with studying this good material. Now, do you know, your company has set up this educational channel, I believe, for your benefit, for that purpose. You want to make sure you're on every one. Now, I would imagine there's a lot of recorded stuff here. Dig into the recordings. Dig into the recordings. Listen to them over and over again. If I've done a couple of things in your company, if they're recorded and you get your hands on them, listen to them every day. Every day. You can't listen. Someone once said, when you read a good book through the second time, you don't see something in it you didn't see before. You see something in yourself that wasn't there before. That's the same when you listen to the same recording. You listen to the same recording over and over and over. You read the same books over and over and over. It's the repetition of the information that alters our course. Yeah, you can get through the rough times. Take it a day at a time and focus on the goal. If you focus on the goal, you're going to win.